Welcome to the Same Day Podcast, where we discuss driving incremental business growth and other topics related to real estate, property management, and entrepreneurship. Now, to the show at hand.
Hi there, Yoni Schmidt here, hosting today's episode of the Same Day Podcast, where I connect with top business and real estate leaders. Past guests include Monica Gilroy, an attorney specializing in fair housing laws, Lindsay Davis, the CEO of Spartan Invest, and Mark Miller, CEO of Hilton Tax and Wealth Advisors. Today's episode is brought to you by Keyrenter Property Management. At Keyrenter Property Management, we are a full-service property management company helping our clients buy, renovate, and operate real estate assets. We help our clients build wealth while taking the headache out of property management. That is why no matter what asset you have, we have the management solutions for you. Go to keyrenterpmc.com or email us at info@keyrenterpmc.com for more information. Today, I am super excited to welcome Matan Haas, the CEO of NHaas Properties, a boutique real estate firm based in Haifa, Israel, that specializes in asset enhancement, property management, and urban renewal. With deep roots in the city and decades of experience, Matan's company is known for breathing new life into historic buildings in Haifa's Lower City and Hadar neighborhood, unlocking hidden value for both residents and investors. But long before he was a real estate entrepreneur, Matan served as deputy commander in Shayetet 13, one of the Israeli Defense Forces' most elite special operations units. His time in active IDF operations equipped him with strategic discipline, resilience under pressure, and leadership skills that now define his business approach. Whether he's structuring complex options deals or piloting a catamaran towards Cuban waters, maybe we'll get into that story, Matan blends creative problem solving with precision execution. He's a lifelong adventurer, an unforgettable character, and someone whose stories demand to be heard. Welcome to the show, Matan, and thank you for being here.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you for having me. Very excited to tell my story to you and your audience. And let's do it.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in. Talk a little bit about from the Shayetet to, your professional, role here. You led elite teams in one of the most, secretive and high stakes military environments in the world. How have those experiences shaped how you lead your business today?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back even more to say that the service in the army was very challenging, and I can say that the thing that was most challenging and also satisfying for me was to lead people. And actually, in the beginning after the army, I went to the education field. I was working with youth, with young people. I was even a teacher. And also, which something that I didn't plan, is that while I was a student, I was studying psychology and history.
Mm-hmm.
And my family, we have many generations that are working in real estate. That I can say. Even like my grandfather, he started that. He was Israeli, born and raised in Jerusalem. And he was a very good trader. And he also bought a few buildings in Tel Aviv, in Haifa, and Jerusalem. And actually, one of those buildings went down the generations and to my mom, especially to my mom. So when I was a student, they said, we have this building in Haifa. While you're doing your thing, maybe you just run that also. So I got this building. It's a 3-story building with offices, shops, and also small apartments. And it's based in a lower city of Haifa, which is a very interesting area because they, in the beginning of the 2000s, they opened up a few academies over there for design, or like the University of Haifa opened up a branch there. So many students came there, and they changed those mostly offices into apartments. So anyway, I got this building to run, and as I was doing things my best in the army and in education, I said, okay, if I'm doing this real estate thing, I'm gonna do my best. So I started like researching, talking with people. My sister, she's an architect, so she was also with me on that. She ran it before me. And then after it took about like 5 years of like knowing how to deal with the apartments, offices, with all the bills, running it financially, and also maintaining all these apartments and real estate properties. And after a few years, I said, you know what? I'm already good at this, you know?
Yeah.
And then my sister and I said, if we already learned how to run a building in a very hectic city with a lot of income, and we also started a company. We opened a company, and we transferred the real estate from private owned real
Mhm.
estate to a company. Actually, two companies. One of them was, and that is from a lot of knowledge that I got from very smart people that I was interviewing while I was a beginner. And I understood that we're also American citizens and we have a very complex tax infrastructure. So
Mhm.
the best thing for us was to open up companies that are LTD companies that we can transfer the all these apartments to one of the companies, because that's only this one is only doing apartments, and the other one is doing all these shops and offices which are taxed differently.
Mhm.
So I did all that, and then I said to my sister, you know what, maybe we start doing entrepreneurship things, you know, buying apartments, rebuilding them. You're an architect. I have my experience. Let's do that. So I was doing also education at that point. And then after a few years, I realized that if I want to actually like make money and live better and have a family, and you know, in education in Israel, it's not the way to do it.
Mhm.
It's not enough. So I
It's
said,
a noble cause, but
yeah,
it's hard to
yeah,
survive. Yeah.
right, right. So I said, okay, maybe I'll do that for full time. But if I and when the past years before I did it full time, we did like 5 or 6 projects of buying an apartment. My
Mhm.
sister was planning the renovation. I was running it from all aspects, including getting all the professionals to work there and doing all the Excel tabs and all that with a lot of help. But I studied it very deeply. And after a few projects, we realized that we are good at something. We know how to solve problems. They
Mhm.
have in Haifa, you can find a lot of apartments that have many kinds of problems, like they have tenants that you cannot evacuate. That's one problem.
Mhm.
Or either you have something that is not listed correctly on a rightful
Mhm.
owner, or the building is listed but not the specific apartment. It's not
Mhm.
divided into apartments. So these are problems that if you know how to solve it, you can make money out of it, because you can buy cheap, solve it, and then sell. I guess a lot of
Mhm.
people in real estate do that in many ways.
Yeah, it's similar in the US. It's, there are clouded titles basically, which, would say someone owns a piece of land or a house, and there's some issue with the title, and then, an investor would come in, solve that problem with attorneys, pay the fees, and take on the headache basically.
Yeah,
So,
so the thing is, I think what's different in Israel compared to the United States is that we are a lot more primitive. And
mhm.
here, sometimes you actually need to go and speak to someone in the city hall, or you have to have a friend or a relative or somebody who knows somebody. I
Yeah,
guess in other countries you have that too, but here, if you don't know how to play the game, then you
yeah,
can't solve these problems. I mean, if you
more
try,
bureaucracy.
Yeah, if you try to like play by the rules and just send an email, you can
Yeah.
wait for 3 years. Let's see.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
so sometimes you just have like, and also in one of the cases, I just went knocked on the door. There was an apartment that you had to go through a hallway of another apartment to get to that one.
Hmm.
Something very weird.
The split ones, basically,
Yeah,
like you see in New
the
York,
split.
big cities.
Yeah, it was split, and then because it was one family, I guess they didn't care that you have to go through another apartment to get to yours.
Yeah.
So nobody wanted to buy that apartment. So I knew I can buy it cheap, but before you buy, you have to know that you can solve the problem. Sometimes
Hmm.
people believe they can solve it, but then they buy the property and they get stuck with it. So
Hmm.
before, that's not something I learned that you have to know that you can solve it before. I was talking to the neighbor before and and even signed an agreement saying, okay, we're gonna divide this hallway. I get this part, you get this part, then I can get direct access.
Hmm.
Okay, then I bought the apartment with this signed agreement, and we didn't even renovate it. We just sold it with this agreement, and my
Yeah.
sister made a plan for how to renovate it, and we sold it with like 40% more
Wow.
in 3 months.
Wow.
Which that thing like really made me believe that if I really like, I live the neighborhood and I know what's going on there, and I find these deals, then I can use my experience, my sister, my lawyer, or whatever I know how to do, fix problems, and then make profit out of it.
Yeah.
So that was an
Well,
important phase.
yeah, but from looking at your website and talking to you and learning about the business, your firm doesn't just focus on that. You also focus on historic neighborhoods in Haifa, turning potential into value,
Right.
right? Just like you mentioned here and what you saw and what you did. Tell me, I guess, like what drew you to those areas, and how do you balance, modernizing with preserving like the I guess like maybe the architectural history, or the balance and the status quo with you know neighbors in the building.
Right, right. That's a good question because in Israel we have a very big problem of like renovating our cities.
Mhm.
I guess you can say that it's now like the buildings that are getting built now, a third of them are renovation of old buildings. And that is
Mhm.
a lot compared to even like 10 or 20 years ago, which mostly were only new buildings. So and it's getting more and more buildings that are renovated, but it's still a fraction. Like even not even like half of the new buildings that are getting built are renovating. So it's something that we have to learn how to do better. But I find a lot of passion in going to these areas that were built. I love history. I studied history. I was also teaching history. So for me, if you combine history and real estate and people, that's what creates passion for me.
Mhm.
So when I see those very old buildings that I buy, some of them were built in the 1930s, even like most of them. So
Wow.
my passion is I see this very like almost broken building that could even like they say buildings that from that period could last like 90 or 100 years. So if you calculate, we're there. These
Yeah.
buildings are the end of their lives. So they need somebody to really take them and make and like renovate them, make them stronger, or and I where the buildings I try to buy the building you cannot demolish because they're in areas that has significancy as an historic area or building.
Hmm.
Some more, some less. Like some of them you only have to preserve one front
Yeah.
then we have
Exterior facade.
right, yeah. Some of them more. But then the challenge is to find a building like that is owned by one person, because then you can buy the whole property. If you only buy 2-3 apartments, even a floor, you don't own the land. So then you don't
Yeah.
have power to change like the whole building. You still have to get along with the other landlords. And my system is that I find a building that was built at that time and was not divided into other landlords. Only one landlord, even if they sold it to someone, it was one person who bought the whole building. And then I take the option on the entire building, which includes the land. And then I get power to change. So then I bring with me a group of investors. Each one of them takes a piece of the building, like an apartment, a shop, a restaurant, whatever, which I priced that before. And then together we take the building, and I also sign them that I'm gonna be the delegate of the building to cooperate with the city and with construction companies to make a deal for all of us, because I own all the new part of the building. Like if we build new apartments, I get them, and then I renovate the old ones for my investors. I add bomb shelters and elevators and all that things that are. It's a known thing that people do in Israel, but what is new with what I do is that I locate these buildings that are owned by one person, and I get an option for the whole building, and I create the group of investors myself, and then we have more control of what's going to happen there.
Yeah, because and I've gone through like a similar program where I have one apartment in a building in Israel in downtown Jerusalem, and we're going through what's known as Tama 38, right? Which is a rejuvenation project of an existing building, strengthening the foundation, adding bomb shelters and elevators, and then the contractor, the general contractor, in this case it's a very well-known one that's called Yud Daled Barazani. Right, they get to add 2 more stories or 3 more stories, and they get to basically either sell those apartments off or keep some of them, or do with it what they wish. But it's a struggle, right? Because you're some neighbors might want it, some neighbors might not. Some owners may be more resistant and push back on the project, versus those who see the value in what you're doing, because you're taking an older building and you're enhancing it, and you're enhancing the value, and people may not really see the value there. So that's kind of like the like unique real estate I guess like model that you pioneered, which is like the option. You go for the option to purchase it, and then once you have gotten the building under contract, you go out and you find the investors, or is it even before that?
Yeah. So what I do eventually, like from the beginning, I just locate the building with my people that know what I'm looking for. And if they find a building with the potential that I look for, then they tell me, and I get in with the owner, start with the bargaining and like making the negotiations. Yeah. And then what I do is I check the building with my professionals to see that it would be fit for what I plan, which means like just for example that it was built according to the plan, that there are not a lot of parts of it that are not according to the plan, because then you cannot sell them and you cannot make money out of them. It's like sometimes I know how to solve that problem also, but you have to see that the building fit basically what you need. Then after I make the deal, like the option is not a tool that I invented. What is interesting is that they invented this tool in Israel they have this tool in a lot of countries, but an option for a real estate property is used if they wanted to make entrepreneurs to give them the option to do the deal without knowing in advance if they can finish it. Let me try. Okay, I put 5%. That's the most you can put, and it's not considered a purchase yet. You don't pay taxes yet. You just pay 5% to the owner, and then you get up to 2 years to check the deal and to pay the rest of what you decided about. Like if you said, for example, 7 million shekels, I give 350,000, and if I want to finish the deal, I have to give all the rest, and I have 2 years to do that. Within those 2 years, I can bring to bring investors to take parts of the option. This is basically the system. So first I make the deal, which is a little like it's a risk, but not a big one, because it's only 5% that I risk, which are non-refundable.
Yeah.
And then I bring the investors.
Yeah.
And it's like a race against the clock, but the clock has a lot of time to tick because I made a deal for 2 years. So, for example, the first one we did was 11 apartments, and I wanted to sell 9 of them and keep 2 for me, for the company, with all the rights to build, the building rights. And then I sold 9 of them in 1 year. So I still have 1 more year to go, which I don't need. But for all the parties, it's better to finish before.
Right.
So it's a win-win situation.
Very interesting. I guess for listeners that, interested in working with you, investors, are you currently taking outside capital? How do you source this capital? Can foreign investors such as, our clients in Oklahoma and Arkansas and, Wichita and Missouri, St. Louis, can they participate in your projects? And if so, what are the check sizes that you're looking for from prospective investors?
So, of course, I am open for more capital and for more investors. There are actually a few ways to get involved. The more like safe and the easy way is just to buy one of the apartments or shops, which in the current deal that we are doing, there is still one apartment for sale. There are 3 that were signed a few days ago, and there's 1 left. And there is also 2 shops and a few in the basement we have a place for storage, a big one. So that's what we have currently, but we are gonna have more soon. We're working on the next deal already. So the first and easy way is actually to buy one of these properties. The more bigger way to get involved is like when I get the option, sometimes I can also get investors to put money on the option itself, which means that this is a non-refundable part of the deal. But of course, you also get a part of the building rights.
Yeah,
that's where the money is.
They're coming in on the ground floor, so to speak.
Yeah. And what I'm not getting into those deals just to buy a property and to sell the parts. I get into this because I want to build new apartments. So the big money is in the construction that is going to come like 3-4 years after we take the building, because then you have to make the plans and whatever. So it takes a few years, but that's where the money is. So sometimes I also get investors to put money on that part, the option. More risk, more money.
More risk, more reward. Yeah, 100%. Let's talk a little bit about like lessons from failures. Have you had any, deals that went sideways that didn't turn out how you had hoped? And, what exactly did you learn from those?
So therefore, I say always that for one deal that you really sign and go for it, there are like 10 that you almost do.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough not to have a big failure until now. Only like
Mm-hmm.
apartments that we bought and didn't make as much as I thought they would. Like we made only maybe 8 or 9% a year, which is you can make that if you put it like on S&P. You don't do
Yeah.
all this headache just for that. And I'm talking about apartments, not buildings.
Right.
In the buildings, you are a lot more cautious. I don't buy a building if I don't know that I have the bank behind me. Even if, let's say, even if I don't sell even one apartment in the deal, I still have the bank to back me up, which means I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
take a big loan, and then I'm gonna have to pay the interest, and my profit would be lower, but I still can make it, and I have 2 years. So luckily, the big deals that we're doing were the building deals, because we have a lot of time to make them. Then no failures yet.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
good.
on small apartments, you make some deals that are not so good. Like currently we hold three. Like there is the building in the lower city that we have, and we're not gonna sell it. But we're also doing small apartments, just more properties for the company. So we currently hold three small apartments in the Hadar neighborhood, which are really nice. We like renovated them very beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's gonna take a few because now the market is a little low. It's gonna probably take more time than I thought to sell them, which is
Mm-hmm.
okay. I mean, we don't lose money, but we just
Yeah.
keep them for like 2, 3 more years than what we thought would be, which is
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
And that's an area that's being gentrified, and it's experiencing sort of like a renaissance
Yeah.
transition. Yeah.
Hadar Road is a place where it was the main business center of Haifa for the 60s. A lot of like cinemas, shops, restaurants, all the people in Haifa went there to go out on the
Mm-hmm.
60s, even 70s. And then it became a really big the slums neighborhood was abandoned. A lot of buildings were abandoned. They made new business centers in other parts of the city. So most
Mm-hmm.
people went to the big malls or to big office buildings and not there. But now it's like you said, it's going through a renaissance. I think it's already very in a very the process is on the way, and
Yeah.
it's going to take a few more years to really see the construction happening there. So I guess
Yeah.
it's a good. I feel like it's a very good time to buy apartments or buildings around there because it's now still not very expensive. Like in a price of 1 or 2 apartments in Tel Aviv, you can buy a building over there.
Right. Wow.
Like
Yeah.
7 million is a price of maybe 2 apartments in Tel Aviv,
Yeah.
but a building of 11 apartments in Haifa.
Yeah. And when you say 7 million, you're talking 7 million
Shekel.
shekels, which is what, like I guess $2 million to
Yeah, yeah,
something.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these
Interesting.
prices are crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Let's talk a little bit about, life after the uniform, which I know you're still very much in uniform here and there from time to time. As many people are in, reserve duty, and we're thankful for, their sacrifice. But many IDF combat soldiers, people who are truly heroes, like you, struggle with the transition into, civilian life. Can you tell us a little bit about, what your journey was like, and what advice would you give to others coming out of the IDF into their civilian life today?
I think it's a very important question because I saw it also, even for me personally, but also a lot of my friends. Even you can think that people that coming out of a special forces unit probably have a lot of skills and it's probably going to be easy to find a job and to go into the civilian life. But I think it's actually the opposite.
Hmm.
Sometimes the feeling, and I see that on a lot of my friends, when you're in the army, in special forces, the sense of satisfaction and of importance of what you're doing is very big and very you feel very important, you can say, and you feel appreciated. And sometimes when you go out to life, it's really hard to find that feeling in work and like civilian life. So I think that some people, that it took for them a lot of time, could even be many years, like 5, 10 years, to really find themselves, and like to invent themselves as something else, which is not a special forces combat fighter. And I think the most important advice I can give is to try to just like find something to do, even if it's not your dream in the beginning, like work, go out, do something. Don't wait to find the perfect job and to be very satisfied in the beginning. You know, it's going to be hard. You're going to start from the beginning, even if you're doing something that you don't feel, okay, I'm like working in a restaurant or I'm working in whatever. You have to do something. You have to create a movement in your life. And I felt like I after like I did a very long journey of 1 year across the ocean. It's also a good story. We can have a totally different podcast about that. Maybe
books can be written about this journeying that you know you somehow
sailboat.
tried to get to Cuba. But I remember those days. I was ancillary to the story because of the person that you were going to go meet there. So
right. Yeah, so I was doing a very crazy sail around the world from United States to Australia, which is a big story and one of the most life-changing events that I've gone through. But I think that the point is that after that, I said, okay, I must start like working with. I felt like I'm good with people, so I went working with youth, and then I signed up for a university, and I think that what saved me or helped me to go through that process is that really fast I was doing things that are really fulfilling for me and gave me and put me very busy. So I was, and then after a while, after a few years, you feel like, okay, I was a soldier, a combat fighter, and I'm still is actually, like you said, I'm going on reserve duty even now many days a year, but still that's not the main thing I do. I'm a real estate guy, or I was in education. So if somebody can say I'm carpenter, I'm a lawyer, what are you? If you're something new, you invent yourself from scratch, and you're not like a ex-soldier, then I know that you're on the right path. And
so just your advice is find purpose in whatever it is that you're doing, basically, and do something.
And don't wait. Like,
wait.
Don't wait and like wait for the right opportunity or whatever. You have to create movement.
That's a great great piece of advice. I guess for investors, U.S. Israel based, or anyone who's looking at Israel, and specifically maybe in Haifa, and Israeli real estate, right, which is a big hot topic nowadays. What do you think is the number one thing that they should know before they jump in?
So as I said, the market in Israel is more complex, and it's not the rules are not written very directly. You have to have your people. You have to know the area that you're working, and don't like hear on a deal and then just go and sign it if you don't really go there or talk to people that you trust, that know this market. In Israel, we have hundreds of small markets. Even if in Hadar neighborhood, there's a few streets that I know I would never buy a building there, and on the other corner I would. So I guess it's right. It's the same in a lot of places, in even in the States, but I guess in Israel even more. You have to know locals, have to know the deals, you have to know the laws, because if you want to make sure that, let's say, this building would go through this renovation process, you have to understand if this area is the city is really intended to make a renovation process in this area, because maybe it's gonna happen only in 20 years. I don't know.
Right.
So that's what
20 years is too long to risk your capital.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Matan, thank you so much for enlightening us, educating me and our listeners about, the world of real estate in Israel and specifically in Haifa, what you're doing at NHaas. For those who are interested in reaching Matan, we will make sure his email and the website to his business is in the comments below so that you can easily contact him. And we thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for hosting me, and feel free, everybody, just if you're interested in the market in Israel or in Haifa and you just want to have a quick question or get a meeting or get on a Zoom with me, then you're more than welcome to to email me, and I'll be happy to talk to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jonathan.
Yeah. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Same Day Podcast. Tune in to a new show each week and be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.